What would it take for a woman to win your heart for you to get on their knee and propose to her?
I think for me, it's really reciprocation and being in alignment. For me, is really big. Because I've always said like there's a lot of beautiful women out here, but not every woman is for you, and sort of just making sure that we both have the same value systems, the same views on family, right? The same conversations about the things that you care about, and just having that kind of intimate bond, right? I find that a lot of people, when we have these conversations, I always wonder and sit back, like how often are people talking about the things that really move them, like 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 their heart, they're real spiritual. And I know what moves my eyes, but also what also moves my heart as well. So I think those two components, you know, have to be both in alignment.
All right, I'll rock with it. Balance coming to you. Why he's not ready? What are your thoughts about it?
I don't really have much to add to this topic. I mean, everything Hank said, I agree with. And this is, I think, a question more for a man anyway. Why? Because men know men, and men know why they're not ready. So that's a question for a man. But Hank, if I had to answer it, whatever Hank said, I agree with 1,000%. So I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just ask a follow up question. How would you know if a guy is actually ready? Because there's a lot of men out there that will propose easily, because they think they're ready. But how do you actually know if he's like for real about what he's trying to do in this commitment?
That's a great question. I would say 100% ignore everything he says and just watch his actions. There's no reason for a man to tell me what he is or what he's going to do. I'm going to watch his actions, how he's lived his life. Like, has he saved for anything? Is he living paycheck to paycheck? Does he have a home? Does he have a car? Does he pay his bills on time? Is he alcoholic? That's a real thing. Does he have to smoke weed every single day just to get through the day? Like these are real things that I'm gonna see by spending quality time with you. I don't have to ask you those questions because a man will say anything. A person, because I don't want to turn into a gender war. A person could say anything, but I'm gonna see your actions from day to day. How you live your life. If you have children, do you take care of your children? How often? Do you pay child support? Like what's that relationship like with the mother? Like I have to see the ins and out of how you live your life day to day. Are you a healthy person or do you just eat Popeyes and McDonald's every day? Like I want to know that because I'm not trying to change diapers when you're 55. I'm not. I'm being honest. Do you go to the gym? Because if you have diabetes and then the insulin and then I have to do all that work because you didn't take care of yourself. Now I'm taking care of a grown man. Like all of that factors in. So it's like, do you have a healthy mindset, healthy lifestyle? Are you spiritual? Do you take care of your kids? Do you take care of your house? Are you dirty? All of those things you could see just by spending quality time with the person, and that will tell you what you need to know. Yeah,
Balanced.
yeah.
What age do you
Oh,
think a man?
don't start asking crazy questions now.
I'm not. I'm not. It's not. It's not crazy.
No, go ahead.
At what age do you think a man should have his shit together where he knows most of that?
Um, to be honest, the age I think is going to be different from the age I think men actually have it. I would hope they have it by 30, but realistically, that's not what I've seen on a large, case. It's like I see men maybe 40 is what I've seen,
So
and I
you saying that
they would have
40,
30.
40 will probably is to you is the optimal age for them to be in the mindset of knowing what marriage is and wanting to be married and having all of that in place.
30 is, but
30.
realistically, I don't see a lot of 30-year-olds walking around with the mindset, with the finances, with the mentality of marriage. That's not what you see in 30-year-old men today. They at the club.
So hmm,
You got another one?
I'm gonna ponder on that for a
But,
second.
it does seem to resonate with where we are today. If the consensus is that we think that a man at 30 should have his stuff together, but the reality is it's more like 40. And if we go back in time, right? Maybe 25, 30 years ago, that they should have their stuff by 25. It's looking more like 30. And then even before then, like you could graduate high school and have an amazing job, full, full benefits, pension. You could raise a family off of that. We're far from that. And sort of the goalpost has been moved out further and further. So it's no surprising that a long time ago, a man could get married at a young age and raise a family, etc. And then that has shifted until that man isn't ready until between 30 to 40, right? It's just where we are today. And I think if we continue the course, that's just going to get pushed out even further to the point that it's like, no, it's not, there's no point.
Yeah, because I personally don't see you make it to 40 years old. If we're saying that 40 is the realistic number for when men are in a mental mindset and the position to be married, and there's really no point of marriage.
I disagree.
No, I disagree. Like, I feel like it has a lot to do with your experiences too. I feel like in your 20s, that's when you make the most mistakes, right? That's when you do things, even if it's for some reason you got garnished for the first time for a check. You've been through some stuff in your 20s. You've made mistakes. You probably got married and got divorced. In your 30s, by the time you get to your 30s, you kind of been through it. You should have been through enough where you're making sound decisions. Where if you want to get married, you're looking at women not just objectively, but looking more about based on your experience. I don't want no chick that's gonna always want some money for shoes and hair. I want somebody that, so 20s. I think by 30 it is too early because you're making a lot of mistakes in your 20s.
It don't take 20 years to figure that out.
No, it don't. But I feel like when you're young and you're in your 20s and you're experiencing life, in your 20s it's too early for me.
To me, that's ridiculous. You're gonna experience life because you're living. Life happens. When you hit 40, there's a whole nother set of circumstances you're gonna deal with. You're gonna deal with death. You're gonna deal with sickness. You're gonna deal with you may make 20-year-old mistakes, but now you're saying, all right, at 40, now that you done got past the 20-year-old mistakes, now you're going to have to deal with a whole nother set of circumstances that come with being 40 plus years old, going to go see the doctor because, you know what I mean? Going to go have your prostate checked out there's a lot of other stuff.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not saying that wait till 40 to get married. In your 30s, that's when you've gotten married. By the time you're 40, your shit's together, meaning you might have already been married by the time you're 40. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying now you're at 40, let's start moving forward on some life decisions. In your 30s, you've been to the point where probably by the time you're 40, you pretty much should have your shit together.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
I think that comes with you're supposed to. That's the problem is everybody doesn't know how to walk through life with each other. That's how we ended up here, where men and women starting to wind up on two opposite sides of the spectrum in every category, politically, emotionally, socially. We're on two different because we don't grow together. We live our lives separately, and then we hit 40, and then we expect us to understand one another. That's not how life works. You're supposed to grow with one another. You're supposed to experience life with each other. You don't experience life by yourself for 30 years and then say, all right, well, now I'm ready to spend this with somebody else because that person done lived their whole entire life by themselves and you don't live your entire life by yourself. And now y'all trying to figure out how to mash both of these two completely separate lives together. That's why I'm like, it don't take 20 years. It don't take 10 years to figure out how to get your shit together. Well, I say 2 years after college, you should know what direction you're going in and find somebody to go in the same direction as you.
But Sweeney, sometimes it takes people a lifetime to get that shit together. Not everybody's the same. So it depends on your household, how you came up. So if I came up in a 2-bedroom household, and that's what I've seen ever since I came out the womb, and that's all I know. Guess what? More than likely, early in my life, I'm going to be looking at marriage as a main focus, as as my thing to do. A young lady, a daughter will do the same thing. She's gonna look, I want what my dad and my mom has. I want what my parents has as early as possible, as soon as possible, because it looks beautiful. It looks well put together. It looks organized. If you come from dysfunction, you're gonna see the dysfunction. You're gonna see your daddy getting into the arguments with your mom over getting money to you, or when you're gonna come pick up your son, or when you're gonna come pick up your daughter. You're gonna see it. Then you're gonna think to yourself, I don't want that bullshit. And if that's what it is, and that's what it turns to, you can have that shit. A lot
But
of
that's
people
why.
don't
But that's why.
see that way, but it depends on the way you come from. Depending on your lifestyle you lived and where you was raised. That's what I'm saying. So it could take to 40 before somebody realized, yeah, maybe I slept on marriage. Maybe marriage is good. I was seeing bad examples. I was seeing bad options, and it's just not what it really is. It could be something better than that. That's what happened with me. My dad. It wasn't until my dad got married the second time where I said, okay, damn. I guess marriage is not that bad. I guess getting married again, even though I failed the first time, it's not that bad. Maybe it is a chance that I can do it again. I see other people being successful on their second marriage. Why can't I? Why can't I do the same thing? Why can't I?
I'm not saying.
Why can't I give my kids the example that I wanted and that I should have did the first time, but I didn't do?
But that's the thing. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is that it don't take 40 years to figure that out. There's living examples in your life every single day of. We don't go by that creed in no other area, but when it comes to dealing with one another. Every other area, you expected to get your shit together when it comes to jobs, when it comes to health, when it comes to production. You're expected to know this shit within a fraction of years. And we're saying, in order for us to deal with another human being that you might not really know what to do until 40 years later.
Hey, Sweeney, just to kind of, and I 100% agree with what you're saying. And I think two things can be happening at the same time. I believe that what Hink and Chanel is speaking to, it does exist. And the question is, we should be asking is, why does it exist? And it exists because we're not taught that at an early age. So people are experiencing and learning out the hard way, getting that tough love. And then they find out later when they in their 30s and 40s, like, man, life and just went by. All my friends around me are married. Everybody's traveling, and I'm sitting here alone, still trying to figure it out, still trying to get into my career. So it is valid that you do speak that to the people that's grown now and say, hey, it's not too late. Like, this is what you could have done, but unfortunately it's too late. So if you got some children or some kids, maybe you can teach them these lessons, or maybe you can start to teach them because maybe you have not begun because this is your first time hearing about it.